So, good morning, grade 8.
Good
Okay.
morning, teacher.
So, this would be, or maybe, our second to the last lesson. Pero, you can still finish the worksheet. I mean, the module. Okay. Ayan. So, pwede nyo pa rin basahin naman yun. So, we are already done with, ano daw? We are already done with linear functions. So, ayan. So, proceed na tayo sa chapter 6, which is the reasoning and proof. Ayan. So, logic and reasoning are everywhere. Tama? Oh, for example, may tanong ako sa iyo, Shane. Meron kang 20 pesos. Sige, dalawa na lang kayo. Meron kang 20 pesos. Bumili ka ng isang pandesal, isang supot ng pandesal worth 35 pesos. Ilan ang magiging sukli mo? Ulitin ko yung tanong. Meron kang 5 tagto 20 pesos. Bumili ka ng isang supot ng pandesal. Ngayon, ilan ang magiging sukli mo? Shane?
Sir, ilan ang halaga ba ng isang supot ng pandesal?
35 pesos. Ulitin ko yung tanong. Meron kang 20 pesos. Bumili ka ng isang supot ng pandesal worth 35 pesos. Ilan ang magiging sukli mo? Blessy? Yes, Shane.
75 pesos?
75? How about Blessy?
45 po.
Ha? Ilan?
45 po.
35?
45 po.
45? Ulitin ko Meron kang 20 pesos. Okay? 20 peso bill. Okay. Ngayon, bumili ka ng isang supot ng pandesal worth 35 pesos. Ngayon, ilan ang magiging sukli mo?
Wait.
Alan?
65.
Ulitin ko. 65 sagot mo Ulitin ko. Meron kang 5 tagto 20 pesos.
5 tagto 20 pesos.
Bumili ka ng isang supot ng pandesal worth 35 pesos. Ilan ang sukli mo? Ilan ang magiging sukli mo? Ilan?
Diretso. 65.
65. Ano?
Tama naman.
Ano? Oh, reasoning nyo Blessy, gets mo na? Ilan ang sukli mo? Blessy?
65 po.
65 din.
75.
Isa din. 75. O sige.
75.
I-reveal ko na yung tamang sagot Okay lang. Kung bumili ka ng tinapay, ilan ang ibibigay mo sa 20 pesos? Ibibigay mo ba yung 20 pesos na yon? Para bumili ka ng
Hindi.
35. Ilan ibibigay mo lang doon? Yung 20, tama?
35.
Oh, yung 20 lang.
Oo.
Ilan magiging sukli mo?
Oo na.
Ilan sukli mo? Ala kayo, ilan sukli mo? 35 yung bibilin mo, 40 yung binigay mo, di ba? Kasi 20. Ala ka. Ala ka, nag-isip pa sila. Ilan?
5 sir.
5. 5 pesos lang magiging sukli. Hindi mo na mabibigay yung 3 bill mo pa ng 20,
Bakit?
di ba? Bakit daw? Ulitin ko yung tanong.
Ha? Ulit?
Ulitin ko yung tanong. Meron kang 20 pesos. Bumili ka ng tinapay worth 35 pesos. O ilan ang sukli mo? O ilan ba ibibigay mo sa 5.20? Di ba yung dalawa lang?
Dalawa.
O ilan ba yung equivalent ng 2.20? 40. Ilan yung binili mo?
35.
O ilan sukli mo? Nag-isip pa siya. Okay. So logic, balik na tayo. So logic and reasoning are everywhere. Tama? So there are many professions such as doctors, lawyers, weather forecasters, and etc. that rely on reasoning. 'Di ba? Doon naman kayo magaling, 'di ba? Magrason. Lahat ng tao doon yun yung instinct natin, magrason. So doctors use reasoning to diagnose and treat patients. Lawyers present arguments in a logical manner to get a favorable decisions. So weather forecasters can also predict if a typhoon is coming and what direction it follows. So have you ever wondered how they make use of logic and reasoning? So at the end of this chapter, you are expected to have fully understood why there is a need to study reasoning, its application in facing real life situations, and its uses in the world of geometry. Okay. So our first topic for this chapter is relationship between the hypothesis and the conclusion of an if and then statement. Okay. So English muna tayo. O hindi kayo magko-compute dito ha. So getting a professional license requires passing the licensure examination. So if a person pass the examination, then he can get a professional license, 'di ba? So pagkuha pa lang ng driver's license, 'di ba? Meron na basta lisensya 'yan, meron yung examination. So you must true be the professionals. Ayan. So in logic, conditionals are formed by combining two statements, P and Q, okay, using the words if and then. Kung, kaya, gano'n siya. So if part of the statement is the hypothesis and the then part is the conclusion. Okay? So kung kumain ako ng marami, then mabubusog ako. Parang ganon. If hindi ako nag-review, then babagsak ako, 'di ba? That would be your conclusion. Yung magiging kalalabasan nung gagawin mo. That would be your conclusion. So, here are some examples. Okay, let's try to identify the hypothesis and the conclusion of the conditional statement. So, ang tawag dito conditional statement. Kung, 'di ba? Kung bibigyan mo ako ng milk tea, sasagutin kita, parang ganun, 'di ba? Okay. Ayan, for example, okay, if it is raining outside, then you will need to bring an umbrella. Okay. So, ulitin ko if it is raining outside, kung umuulan sa labas, then you will need an umbrella. Okay. So, what is the hypothesis after the word if? Okay. So, ang hypothesis natin doon, it is raining outside or it is raining, 'di ba? Dahil umuulan, anong kailangan natin gawin? You need an umbrella. That is your conclusion.
Umbrella.
Yes. So pagkatapos ng word na if, that would be your hypothesis. Pagkatapos ng then na word, that would be your conclusion. Another example. If you exercise regularly, then you will be fit. Okay. So, ang hypothesis natin doon, you exercise regularly. Yun lang You exercise regularly. Pagkatapos ng if, yung then natin, that would be your conclusion. You will be fit. Tama? Tama ba?
Opo.
If 2 times 2a minus 3 is equal to 10, then a is equal to 4. hypothesis, ito lang siya, is equal to 10. Then, conclusion natin is A is equal to 4. Kuha. Ito lang oh. Pagkatapos ng word na if, ito yung tinatawag natin na hypothesis. Pagkatapos ng word na then, ito, you will be fit. Yan yung tinatawag natin na conclusion. Madali lang ba siyang i-identify? Yes or no?
Sir, paano po yun sa worksheet?
O mamaya yun. Ito, nag-guess na ba?
Opo. Opo.
Okay. Ayan, so let's proceed to transforming statements into an equivalent if and then statement. Ayan. So, ang tawag natin doon ulit ay, ano ulit tawag natin sa if and then statements? Yan yung tinatawag natin na conditionals. Kuha. Ang tawag natin dito ay conditionals. Basta may if and then. May hypothesis and may conclusion. Kuha. So, let's proceed to this one.
Yes.
So, there are several signs na nakikita kayo. So, you can find it anywhere. So, community, sa streets, di ba? So, pagpasok pa lang sa school, di ba, meron na no ID, no entry. Oh, no face mask, no ride. Di ba ngayon? Okay. So, conditionals are sometimes not written in if and then form. So, it is necessary to identify the hypothesis and the conclusion. So, for example, no ID, no entry. Meron bang if and then dyan? Wala. Pero understood na yan na it is a conditional. Bakit? Kung wala kang ID, hindi ka rin makakapasok. Diba? Kung wala kang face mask, hindi ka makakasakay. Diba? If no ID, then no entry. Parang ganun din lang. Okay. So, let's proceed dito sa examples natin. So, let's try to identify the hypothesis and the conclusion. So, for example, P statement natin, ang P natin pertains to the if. Okay? Ito yung if natin. And then, yung Q naman natin, Q statement is the then. So, hypothesis si P, Q si conclusion. Okay. So, conditional. P statement muna tayo kay hypothesis. Two angles are vertical. Ang Q statement natin or ang conclusion, two angles are congruent. So, gagawa natin siya ng conditionals. If two angles are vertical, gayahin mo lang, then, the angles are congruent or they are congruent. Kuha. Papalitan mo lang yung two angles na to ng they. Diba? Napag-aralan nyo na yan sa English. Papalitan mo lang siya ng pronoun. Tama ba ako doon? Hindi ata. Basta yon. Okay. O, tawa si Shane, no? Okay. So, transform the statement in if and then statement. So, identify the hypothesis and the conclusion. So, all angles are, all right angles are congruent. So, try natin hanapin ang hypothesis natin. So, sabi niya, all right angles are congruent. Okay. So, yun yung conditional natin. So, gagawan mo naman siya ngayon ng hypothesis. Hanapin din natin ang conclusion. So, ano magiging anong magiging hypothesis natin? All right angles, sabi niya, are congruent. So, if angles are right, okay, conclusion would be, then they are congruent. Kuha. Kasi sabi niya, all right angles. Therefore, gagawa ka ngayon. If angles are right, angles, di ba? Therefore, they are congruent. Kuha. O, try natin to. Write the conditionals in if and then form. Then, identify the hypothesis and the conclusion. Number 1, the hungry baby cries. Ulitin ko. The hungry baby cries. Ano magiging if natin dito? Ano magiging hypothesis natin? An idea? If
the baby is hungry.
yes, if the baby is hungry, tama? Okay. So ang conclusion mo ay ito conditional sa lang pala ito. Conditionals. Okay. So, if the baby is hungry, nawala na. Wait lang. If the baby is hungry, then
she or he will cry.
it will
Cry.
cry. Tama? Oh. Another example dito.
Yeah.
2016 is a leap year. Conditionals. If
If 2016 is
If
a
it
leap
is,
year. Huh?
if it is 2016, then it is, okay, pangmadali na lang, it is a
It is a
leap
leap year.
year. Tama? Oh, magpandali na ito.
Yes.
Basketball players wears jersey. Conditionals. If
the basketball players
if it is a basketball player, tama?
if it is basketball players,
Basketball
yes.
player, then he
he wears jersey.
wears jersey.
Jersey.
Tama? Kuha ba, Blasi? Tangod. Lukado tuloy. Ito. The grade 8 students study geometry. So, conditionals. Ano magiging conditionals natin dito?
If the grade 8 student, tama?
If you are a grade 8 student, pwede naman, di ba?
Grade
Pwede mong
8
dagdagan.
student.
If you are a grade 8 student, then you study
I use
geometry.
Geometry.
Okay. Kuha. Oh, fish can swim. Oh, pangmadalian lang. Conditionals.
If fish,
Ano? If fish. If dagdagan mo lang. If it is a fish, tama? Dagdagan mo lang if it is a.
if
If it if it
a fish can swim,
Oh, mali.
if it
If it is a fish, kung ito ay isda, then it swims. Tama?
it can
Or it can swim. Tama. It can swim. Malamang, di ba?
swim.
Okay. Alam mo, lumipad yung isda.
Naglalakad
Naglalakad yung isda, di ba? Oh, if it is a fish, then it can swim. Kuha?
Marie goes to church every Sunday. Yes.
Yes. Okay. So, those are conditionals. So, keynotes, if-then statement are conditional statements which has two parts, the hypothesis and the conclusion. So, if the conditional is not written in the if and then form, it is necessary to identify the hypothesis and the conclusion. So, let's go now to our worksheet last week. Okay. So, saan na nga ba yun? Ito. Okay. So, ayan. Madali lang ito. So, you are just going to identify what would be the hypothesis and what would be the conclusion. So, for numbers 9 and 10, hanapin nyo lang yung hypothesis and the conclusion. And for letter B, ito, gagawin nyo siya ng if and then form. For example, number 1. Try natin number 1. Ito. Wait
The
lang.
measure of an
Okay.
acute
The measure,
angle is
ano ang cute?
between
Ako, ang cute.
acute
Acute. So, the measure of an acute angle is between 0 and 90. So, if and then form, if it measures, okay, pwedeng balik-baliktad na sa inyo naman kasi yan. Between, pwede mong baliktad rin. If it is, ano daw? If it measures between 0 to 90 degrees, okay, then it is an acute angle.
acute angle.
Pwedeng
Pwedeng
ganyan.
baliktarin pala.
Yes. Okay. So that would be your if and then form. So dito naman sa hypothesis, okay, so ano ba yung magiging hypothesis natin dyan?
If
Ito. Hindi mo na kailangan isulat yung
if
if.
we measure
Hindi. Hindi mo na isusulat yung if. Ito lang. It measures between 0 to 90 degrees. Yan ang magiging hypothesis. Hindi mo isusulat ang word na if dito. Okay? Yun lang. It measures between 0 to 90 degrees. That would be your hypothesis. What would be your conclusion? Then ito lang. Ito, it is an acute angle. Yun yung magiging
Angle.
conclusion mo. Nakuha?
yes.
Okay. How about Leslie? So, ganun lang yung gagawin dyan, ha? Dito, hypothesis and conclusion lang kasi naka-if and then statement naman siya. If, then statement. So, ang isusulat mo lang dito, ito lang. Huwag nyo isusulat yung if. Sa conclusion, huwag nyo isusulat yung then.
Sir, yung
Kuha?
sa number 2 nga po.
Number 2,
Sir, yung
answeran
sa
na rin
number
yan.
2.
Answeran na rin
The
yan.
area of a circle is
Answeran na rin yan.
2. Ano yung 2 pi r?
Pi r squared.
Pi r.
Pi r squared.
If, sir, dyan sa if and then form, pag mimix in na yung sagot doon, no?
Yes, pwede mong balibalik rin dito. Basta, lalabas pa rin yung statement na the area of our circle is this one. Or the collinear points lie on the same line. A right angle measures 90 degrees. Ganun lang. So, kahit mabalibaliktad dyan, okay lang. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. So, any questions?
Yes.
Violent reactions? Any more clarifications?
None.
None? How about Blessy?
None. Sir, paano nakuha yung 5 dun kanina?
Saan? Anong
Tara,
5?
gets.
Okay.
Yung una.
Ilan ba yung ibinayad mo? Ilan ba yung ibabayad mo? Di ba yung 40 lang?
40.
Dalawang 20. Pag binayad mo yun, ilan sukli mo kapag 35 yung bibilin mo? Hello?
5.
Saan galing yung 5?
Ha?
Saan galing yung 5?
40.
Di 5 bang sukli, hindi 65.
Ay, ganun.
Okay, so
Okay.
that would be all for today. Okay, so si Shane okay na. Blessy, you need to submit your performance task. Okay?
Sana po yung option B.
Yung option B, ididikit lang siya. Okay? And so I'm gonna end this muna before your clarifications na sa performance test natin. Wait lang. So I'm gonna stop this recording.